Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I will be your piano player for tonight. Please put your hands together for my good friend, local genius, Mr. Michael Dalley.
When it comes to comedy, my taste is quite specific. Parody does naught for my morale. Sexual innuendo is disgustingly horrific, and I just can't stomach clown or carnival. For crazy comic festivals, I feel there is no need, and comic football players are a bore. But though I'm quite sensorial, I really must concede, there is one demographic I adore. Oh, yes, I love private schoolboys doing satire. And I love it when they skewer the status quo. I love private schoolboys doing satire, and the private school cachet they give their show. Although their fathers might be big in banking, and their mothers might be big in BHP, they'll charm us with the wit they learned in year 11 lit as they deconstruct the new economy. Now society is rife with vice and folly, and corruption and hypocrisy still thrive. And those down at the bottom of the food chain are eking out a living to survive. But when the poor begin to mock authority, they're carping and they're moaning like all glamour. A revolution is in vain, criticism's the domain of a gentleman from Scotch or Melbourne grammar. Oh, yes, I love private schoolboys doing satire. I love the Penguin classics on their shelves. I love private schoolboys doing satire, and the way they satirize their future selves. They may get bored with law or engineering, they may not ever be a corporate czar, but they're sure to find their niche doing Wildian prestige of all their father's colleagues at the bar. Oh yes, I love private schoolboys doing satire. I love how they manipulate cliché. I love private schoolboys doing satire, and we all love an excuse to go touché. I love to watch their left-wing propaganda, all their rich, incisive theatre that confronts. But I hate it when they sign a 3-year deal with Channel 9 and become a cracker private schoolboy. There goes the chaser, blow tasteless notes on dying children may completely backfire. I just adore those snotty private schoolboys doing satire. Thank you very much. Thank you. When I was just a boy, I went to school with a slightly special student called Charmaine. Her movement was quite blurred, and her speech was rather slurred because of some odd fluid on the brain. Now Charmaine liked to put on lunchtime concerts where all the kids would charitably clap. They'd tell her, "You're a star." She'd cry and they'd go, "Aw." Till one day I stood up and said, "You're crap." She thanked me one day because my duty is the truth. I'm not one to patronize. I'd much prefer to break your heart than flatter you with lies. My duty is the truth. What's the point of holding back when asked to view the goiter on my auntie roof? I took a moral stand and told the truth. I must say that I'm proud to have the courage to say the things that others dare not say. I told my friend Narelle she was terminally unwell. I told the vicar's wife her husband's gay. Some people think I take a vicious pleasure, but sadly no one seems to understand that if someone's too fat, it's civic duty that I recommend a laparoscopic ban. My duty is the truth. It's doomed, Dal, that's the truth. So slow down on that driver, move, keep hands on in that photo booth, and listen while I tell you every goddamn gospel truth. Thank you. Thank you very much. You know, I've always had a policy of using words that are politically correct. But lately I've had such a guilty pleasure finding ways to show my disrespect. For if I ever find myself in conflict, or if somebody tries to bring me down, I've got the perfect word for the mangy little turd, cause the C word's back in town. I whisper it when I'm in public, I yell it out when I'm alone. I get a call from market research, and I scream it down the phone. I mutter it when poorly treated by a matron in an evening gown. If I run over a rabbit or I think of Tony Abbott, then the C word's back in town. What do you do? What do you say? If someone pulls a nasty stunt, what do you do? What do you say? Do you verbalise or grunt? What do you do? What do you say? To express a thought quite blunt, we should be more upfront. So kick that punt, Carmichael Hunt. There's a Broadway monologue about it that millions went to see. Robin Archer first put it in a musical on Australian TV. The girls in Sex and the City used it to great renown. Now it's everywhere you know, and thanks to HBO, the C word's back in town. I'd like to show about the N word, and it isn't homophobic, saying queer. Even Christopher Pine dropped the C-bomb. Look what it's done for his career. Feminists are actively reclaiming what's being used to put them down. So, let me now reclaim this C of an A, cause the C word's back. Stick it up your crack, cause the C word's back in town. Thank you. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, and welcome to the second Melbourne performance of Rituals of Art and Hatred. And I have to say, it's such a rare privilege to be able to make art in the southeastern suburbs of Melbourne. You know, tonight it's just me and that shop in High Street Armadale that sells giant Campari posters. Otherwise, there's no art for miles, believe me. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to acknowledge this very, very talented man on piano, Mr. John Thorn. Would you give him a huge round of applause? John and I have been working together for 8 years now, and we've done 6 different shows together, and we always have a ball. We're quite different. John was raised as an Anglican and I was raised as a Catholic, but we were both raised with a sense of entitlement, which is a great connection to have. Now, I'm going to ask you a question. Is art important? Yes. Okay, we'll try again. So, is art important? Yes. Now, there's a counter-argument, of course. We'll cover that, don't worry. You know, art is really important. You know, and the government doesn't think so, but we all think so. And you've all paid $35 to come tonight, and that's very flattering to me because it shows that you value my show 5 times as much as a visit to the doctor. And I don't take that lightly, I have to say, and I feel compelled to give you a very healing ritual tonight. So I'm going to sing you a song which tells the story of a ritual in the life of a young girl, on the brink of womanhood. Danny, the debutante, turned sweet 16, determined to make her debut into society, lacking prestige and abundant in beer and tattoo. She orders off eBay a white satin dress and gets a fake tan in baked copper. Finds an old-threatening boy with bad skin who uses a language improper. Danny, the debutante, Danny, with stars in her eyes. Danny, the debutante, Danny, spelt with 2 I's. Danny, the debutante instructs her companion to train in bizarre dance formations. She learns how to curtsy, to hold a bouquet, and prepares for her grand presentation. As she walks down a staircase from nowhere, the hostess announces, Danny is the daughter of Kyle and Leanne Caruana from Chernobyl Park. She's currently at university where she's studying makeup. Danny is accompanied by Blake, who is a third-year plumbing apprentice and whose ambition is to make shitloads of cash. And she walks up and offers the cheek to the mayor, who gives her a borderline pash. Oh, Danny, the debutante, here's what your future will be. Danny, the debutante, Danny, spelt with 2 I's and a capital H after the D. Danny, the debutante, sits at a table with Blake and Brielle and Brianna. She knocks back 3 bottles of Sauvignon Blanc and a reheated veal Parmigiana. She feels like the Duchess of Cambridge all night, but she's brought back to earth the next morn, when she wakes up with Blake saying, get the fuck up, stark naked on his front lawn. Oh, Danny, the debutante, here's where society ends. Danny, the debutante, Danny, spelt with 2 I's, capital H, after the D, and 3 N's. Danny, the debutante, life's a pathetic narrative. Danny, the debutante, Danny, spelt with 2 I's, capital H, after the D, and 3 N's, and an L, and a Z, just to be creative. Just to be creative. She's so creative. Thank you very much. You know, this show is inspired by a couple of things, but partly this rather insidious era of neoliberalism that we live in. You know, an era where you can have impeccable manners, but if you need to eat, you can be an asshole. And what scares me is that I realised that the school that I was sent to was one where I was trained to be a complete asshole so that I could eat incredibly well. And it's true, I function really well in this nasty society that we live in. In this suit, I've done hideous things to get this suit. And all the boys that I went to school with have gone on and done really, really interesting things and are eating really well, and they're complete assholes, even the particularly dumb ones, you know. There was this one boy that I went to school with, however, who always believed, and probably does maintain to this day, that he could get by without being an asshole, and was determined to resist those impulses. And I'd like to dedicate this song to him. I'm getting very bored with all Australians of late, and I'm sick of all my friends who found careers at 28. I've finished university, but think that I would rather not be an engineer or an accountant like my father. I'm disgusted by the fact that I grew up in Wheelers Hill, and the thought of being settled makes me feel completely ill. I think Australians are apathetic and culturally diseased, so the answers to my problems I know I overseas. And so I'm back, packing from Namibia to Nice. Yes, I'm back, packing with lots of polar fleece. I'm back, packing, I'm getting off my arse and proving to the world that I'm no longer middle class. I hitchhike with some smugglers when I travel through Iran, and I tell them all about getting arrested in Sudan. I wear tribal robes in Kenya, a turban in Bombay, then when I get to Amsterdam, throw all my clothes away. I bungee jump in Sweden and I surf at Venice Beach, and I'm proud when in Jakarta I get beaten by police. I eat a big blood sausage just outside of Bucharest, but that stir-fried fish inside will put my colon to the test, because I'm back, packing, it's really very fun. Yes, I'm back, packing to terrify my mum. I'm back, packing because I love to play with people from all nations except the USA. I buy a lovely tribal rug when I go to Khartoum. It's woven by a 5-year-old who's handcuffed to a loom. In Spain I see a bull fight, and when the bull is dead, I agree with Hemingway that this is why the bull was bred. I see some tribal rituals to expand my narrow vision and start defending arguments for female circumcision. I think the global treatment of the third world is so crude. Still I'm happy paying third world prices for my food because I'm back. Packing malaria is right, but I'm back. Packing to experience life. Prostitution, something that I've always been against. But $5 for a route in Marrakesh makes perfect sense because I'm back. Packing, I'm free of all pretension, yes I'm back. Packing, but still I beg the question. Why is it when some people go from Honolulu to Hull, they leave completely vapid and come back just as dull? Thank you. The next song I'm going to sing is a song about lifestyle. You know, Australia is obsessed with lifestyle. And we were just in Adelaide doing the show, and there's Adelaide Hills Style, and there's a Margaret River Style magazine. There's even a Mildura Style magazine, and it's so much more stylish than Mildura, I'll tell you. You see, lifestyle isn't something you live, it's something you buy. And of course, the right accessory can make all the difference. She dreamed that love would be packaged in a nice gin-toned physique that drove a BMW and cooked risotto once a week. She dreamed that love would come her way in a Valentino suit. But then one day, surprised to say, love stepped out of a ute. She was an upmarket woman, he was a downmarket man, content in their market profile, but love had another plan. Though the different demographic was overwhelmingly clear, the look in her eyes said, come hither, and the look in his eyes said, get here. She could crack open the volley, he could crack open a safe. She just completed an MBA and he'd been rejected from TAFE. He learned to drink cafe latte and she learned to drink from a can. Cause he loved an upmarket woman and she loved a downmarket man. Really shit choreography, I'm sorry. Too tight to employ She was impressed by the way that she used lots of French words in her talk. She found it kind of quaint when he ate a croissant with a knife and fork. He read James Joyce's Ulysses, which was simply beyond her belief. And she found nothing bizarre lying under his car as he taught her to fix his diff. She found that there was nothing wrong mixing ginger beer with rum. And he agreed it was inappropriate to say cunt in front of her mum. He learned to love the bogans in Frankston, and he learned to love the wankers in Paran. Cause he loved an upmarket woman, and she loved a downmarket man. More shit choreography on this. So if you're an upmarket woman, or if you're a downmarket man, employ a team of consultants to do a market research plan. Though bridging a class distinction may provoke an abusive tirade, a guy always loves some high-class muff, and a girl loves a bit of rough trade. Back in 1991, when I was 5 years old, I went to this spiritual retreat in the Snowy Mountains with my friend Adrienne, and it was beautiful. It was lovely fresh air and yoga and meditation and millet porridge, and we were the best dressed people there because we weren't wearing hessian. Anyway, we met this guy who was an integrational therapist, and and he took a bit of a shine to my friend Adrienne, and he sort of wooed her with his knowledge of spiritual practices. But as the week went on, she found out that his needs were as base as any other man. I'd like to dedicate this song to the integrational therapist, who's probably died of anemia, but it's a neoliberal society, it's not my fucking problem. He works from love and not from fear, and for a man he's read a lot of Germaine Greer. He doesn't chase the corporate dollar, he has gurus and deities to follow. He says he's worked through all those issues with his mum, and he's perfectly in sync with the new millennium. Why do women just go weak around this curve? He's a masseur. He's a masseur in his garage. He has a table that he uses for massage. With your pressure points, and if you're achy, you do a very non-specific reiki. Sometimes he'll just travel with the flow, and his hands might wander somewhere where masseurs are meant to go. Realize as your orgasm goes frantic, you book the tantric massage with exotic essential oils. Let go of the pain, you beautiful man. Massage, work out those toxins from those chocolate royals. Massage, you love it every day. Even though this man has spent way too long in Byron Bay. He meets a girl, he cooks her roti, and she goes wild about his ponytail and roti. He buys some hemp and crochets her some slacks, and with recordings of the date tree he helps her to relax. He expands her consciousness with all the things he reads, but he can't expand the one thing that she desperately needs. As his lifeless little organ loses space, he asks for space. Some space, he needs some time alone. Some space, so he avoids her on the phone. Some space, how is it that he can be a healer and a prophet, but he just can't be a man? He's gone away on permanent retreat. He plays didgeridoo, walks on fire with bare feet. He eats vegan food inspired by the East, and he brags that his Candida's gone now he's not eating yeast. He'll give you a hug and then he'll say that chocolate is so bad for you and ecstasy's okay, but don't ask him if he has a qualification when he gives workshops on menstruation. A little piece of high-rise heaven in the sky, a 19th floor apartment where the birds and planes go by. The rooftop is communal with a swimming pool for fun, but it's not so communal in apartment 191. I'm sure I'd love my neighbors if I knew them. I'm sure I'd love them if they said hello. Perhaps I'll ask them for a cup of sugar, but then my doctors recommended sweet and low. I'm sure that I could strike up special friendships with all those smokers on their balconies. I'd try and get along with those students from Hong Kong, but sadly, I don't speak good Cantonese. I'm sure I'd love my neighbors if I knew them, but no one ever seems to take the time. I'm sure I'd have an active social network if my neighbors weren't all networking online. Last month I made starting to suspect that there's a rift. I hear the girl below me playing techno, the gay guy next door singing carousel, the couple in the flat upstairs are rooting, and it sounds like they're not rooting very well. But no one ever hears me when I'm crying, all lonely and monastic in my den. One day I'll lock the door and lay me down to die. I'll bolt the only window and I'll turn the heat up high, and I'll smell just like a subway store to all those passers-by, and those pricks will get to know me then. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. As I said before, we were in Adelaide for the Cabaret Festival 2 weeks ago, and I love going to Adelaide. The 20th anniversary is the first time I performed there, and back in 1994 I played the Adelaide Fringe Festival, and there was a company doing a community theatre piece in the theatre that we were sharing, and they were doing this piece on mysticism and New Age shamanism, and they got a rather damning review in the Advertiser by this really toxic reviewer, and he wrote, "They talked about the need for a shaman. Not even Jim Shaman could say this task." The point is that art provokes very strong and unfair and unpleasant responses in people, and I must confess that I've been guilty of some of those responses, and here's one of them right now. She's just done an installation in Berlin where she touched herself while dressed up as a priest. At council festivals she's engaged to sing and dance in fits of rage. Erotic cabaret artiste. When she was in New York, she shaved her head and tattooed it with an image of the beast. Her sexual politics are fierce, every lip she has is pierced. Erotic cabaret artiste, but she's boring. She's oh so very boring. No amphetamine she's testing seems to make her interesting, and her references to whoring cannot hide the fact she's boring. No, but she's boring, and the bourgeoisie is so adoring. They go into salacious spasm at her genuine fake orgasm. It's erotic as Hermann Goering. Man gut, she is suburban. Madonna introduced her to Kabbalah, and now she likes the Hanukkah menorah. She was quite dismissive of the pain she got from fastening a chain to her labia majora. She fills the funding bodies with her shtick, and reviewers find her dangerous and confronting. Academics want such fame on her burlesque about Matt Damon, called goodwill counting. But she's boring. The things she does, I wish she wouldn't. None of the things she does with pencils or culinary utensils, placed in places where she shouldn't place them, can disguise the fact she's boring. No, God, she's boring. I watch her act and soon I'm snoring. You'd think her childhood was disturbed, but she was Dux of Sacre-Cœur and never misses a reunion. Oh my God, she even takes communion. God, she's boring. I just can't bear it, she's so boring. She'll do her final online route on a country road and buy a suit for sooner rather than later, she'll be an arts administrator. Because she's so fucking boring. I'm going to make a confession now. About 12 years ago, I emotionally blackmailed, or rather manipulated my parents into retiring to Mount Eliza so that I could have a beach house. And I do love going down to Mount Eliza. I love the sea breezes and the status anxiety. And I love spending summer down there and just spending time being at one with myself on the beach and taking in the natural wonders and, of course, the many unnatural wonders around there. What's this little starfish? Why is it unique? What's this bit of tea tree? Ooh, what's all of this teak? Is it a bird? No. Is it a plane? No. Is it a sea urchin? No, it's just shit. Art of the Mornington Peninsula, decorative art of the Mornington Peninsula. Come and buy a painting or two. It'll match all your furniture if it's lemon and blue. Here are two rotten posts of wood that are tied together with rope. Here's a plain white canvas with a single splash of taupe. Here's a bit of plankton that was dried up on the rocks. We bought it in Sorrento and it cost $1,200 because it's shit. Art of the Mornington Peninsula, decorative art of the Mornington Peninsula. People come from near and far to this place where a dinghy is an object art. Here's our Asian terrace where our Buddhas write at home. Here's our water feature on our cheap and nasty stone. Here's our landscape garden on a balmy summer night. It looks like we're in Bali with our Jamie Dury shite. And all our shit, art of the Mornington Peninsula, decorative art of the Mornington Peninsula, any shit trinket you desire, and lots of shit neighbours like Eddie McGuire. Here's a little bookshop with books on fish and birds. Lots of pretty picture books and even books with words. Here's a little cafe made up like a boating shed. It's full of all those corporate types just like the living dead who buy that shit. Art of the Mornington Peninsula, decorative art of the Mornington Peninsula. Isn't it a dreadful waste? You can buy a house in Portsea, but you can't buy taste. Thank you. Thank you very much. Definitely earned the right to sing that one. Thank you, man. I was introduced the other night at the festival gala as Melbourne's Noel Coward. And I felt a little funny about that, because you know, he was a very funny comedy writer, and but he was a little twee and a little dated and very British. But a few years ago, John dared me to write a Noel Coward tribute song. And so I've taken some of Noel Coward's musical patterns and I've blended them with far more contemporary material, and I hope you like it. It's called Alice. I'll sing you a song of a girl from Geelong who suffered digestive distress, working hours extreme in a corporate team in pursuit of financial success. She lived on a diet of processed food which was tragically lacking in fibre. Though she'd passed with distinction a double degree, she could never quite pass through the Khyber. At 7 AM, she'd devour a big M and a bottle of blueberry snackle. Into work she'd commute, eating twisties like fruit, but she never could manage an apple. Her lunchtime would be at McDonald's at 3, but not till she'd handed her work in. Late at night she'd go back and she'd buy a Big Mac and insist that they leave out the gherkin. One morning her next door neighbour Jane heard through the lavatory window pane the sound of our heroine's desperate strain. Alice in trouble again. Now she sported a scowl from her irritable bowel, and the additives that she ate, though it beggars belief, her only relief was through use of a chocolate laxette. To everyone's dread, she'd buy fluffy white bread that would leave her all clogged up with gluten. She'd devour by the bowl Russian beef casserole that would shock even Vladimir Putin. One day at the office, her colleagues saw Alice, embarrassed and shocked to the core, dragging her rectum along the floor. Alice had prolapsed once more. So please heed my warning, don't breakfast each morning at Macca's on pancake and syrup, or you'll end up dejected and being inspected with each of your feet in a stirrup. Aforementioned next-door neighbour Jane called the plumber to complain. Please come now and repair the drain. Alice has prolapsed again. Thank you. That's as dirty as it gets, I promise. So, as I said, we were in Adelaide, and I love going to Adelaide because it's a beautiful, cultured city, apart from the serial killers. But I love the architecture, and there are these beautiful sandstone villas everywhere. And every time I go, there are more and more original Victorian sandstone villas. I don't know quite how that happens, but it is remarkable. And I'm going to sing you a little song about that strange phenomenon. I have a large but humble home, a basic model indeed. Inside there's nothing ornamental, there's no display of wealth or greed. But though I've yet to put down carpet, and each window is covered by a sheet, our home makes a wonderful impression when you see it from the street. There's a Grecian column on the left-hand side and a Roman one to the right. There's a Florentine chandelier with a rainbow-coloured light. There's a Balinese water feature with a copper-plated shard on a little bit of everything McMansion facade. A little bit of everything McMansion facade. And at that point next time, ladies and gentlemen, you can sing along too. There's a Gothic stained glass window, just like Notre Dame. There's a reference to Hawaii with an aluminium palm. There's a Federation roller door to the Georgian-style garage on a little bit of everything McMansion facade. A little bit of everything McMansion facade. There's a big Pacific totem pole copied from the set of Lost. A Saudi Arabian minaret that we stole from the local mosque. There's a digital image of Chairman Mao that's slightly avant-garde on a little bit of everything McMansion facade. Much louder. A little bit of everything McMansion facade. Rock mock Tudor from Surrey, carvings from Peru, colours from Morocco on the concrete kangaroo. There's a lime green V8 Holden and a hot pink colonnade on a little bit of everything McMansion facade. A little bit of oh, it's so naff, it's beautiful. I've forgotten that's right. Our roof line is Art Deco and the front door is Baroque. It's covered in a laminate that looks a bit like oak. We open it to visitors, but visitors are scarred when they walk into our foyer and they see our 7 living rooms are all completely empty as we've blown all of our money on our little bit of collective unconscious, I soon begin to self-mythologize. I dream about an era great and golden, of pre-millennial riches and of youth. I listen to the glory of my memories and pray to God they're telling me the truth. They tell me, God, I was amazing in the 80s. God, I was so beautiful and wise. God, I was renowned back in the 80s for those monodramas that I grouped devise. I made such things of beauty with screen printing. I turned my suicide attempt into a song. Oh God, I was amazing in the 80s. Won't somebody tell me what went wrong? I'd sit enthralled in sociology lectures by everything I heard about Karl Marx. Then I'd buy a house in North Fitzroy or Carlton and pay no more than 40,000 bucks. I'd have the time to read Lacan and Derrida and spice my conversation with their terms. I'd eat dinner that was cooked by Hare Krishnas and be completely unafraid of all the germs. Oh God, I was amazing in the 80s. God, I had such reason to be vain. Oh God, I kept my figure in the 80s on a diet of falafel and cocaine. Oh God, I was amazing in the 80s. God, I was so glad to be alive. I blazed a trail of glory in the 80s, especially in 1985. I went into a monastery in Poland and trained my body until it was sore. With a student of Grotowski, I made theatre that everyone called poor. I pushed my very being to the limit. I experienced transformation, there's no doubt. I did 18 hours a day of biomechanics and never ever dreamed that I'd burn out. Oh God, I was amazing in the 80s. The status quo inspired me with such hate. I took up arms and fought for revolution in theatre projects funded by the state. Oh God, I was amazing in the 80s. God, I was identically unique. I earn a full-time living as an artist. Ooh, and get my gold check every second week. Thank you. Oh God, I was amazing in the 80s. I'd end a song mid-sentence and then freeze. A man strikes a seductive pose on a grand piano. He sings a song by Kurt Weill, and suddenly it is Berlin cabaret of the 1920s. In the sewers of Berlin, there lives a cat. Meow. In the sewers of Berlin, there lives a rat who will bite you. And the general gives the orders to the soldiers marching by, and the whores are crying wildly, avant, avant, avant. Wo ist mein Innocence? Where is my innocence? Wo ist meine Jugend? Where is my youth? Wo ist mein Verfremdungseffekt? Where is my Brechtian theatrical alienation device? Und was? Was ist passiert mit meinen schwarzen Hosen, huh? And what has happened to my black stocking? In the sewers of Berlin, there lives a lady who is in hiding from the secret flushed down the drain by his starving mother at birth, you bourgeois pigs. And the baby cries, can you help me? But the rats just look and laugh. And a chorus of ghosts from eternity cry, Avon, Avon, Avon. Wo ist mein Kartoffelpuffer? Where is my potato pancake? Wo ist mein Entschuldigung? Where is my excuse me? Wo ist mein Dreigroschen Opera? Where is my Brittany opera? Und was? Was ist passiert mit meinem schwarzen Hosen? And what has happened to my black stocking? In the sewers of Dalley, the end abruptly. Barry Kosky moment. I feel quite dirty after that. Did someone just walk out? Fuck them. Decade. Okay, we're going to sing a song which is actually quite topical, but I don't know if you know that millions and millions of dollars have been cut from the arts funding, the Australia Council funding, and yet the Australian Ballet School has been given $1 million to buy a house for the ballet students to live in. Apparently it's going to make it a better country for that. But I felt a little bit mixed when I heard of that, because I used to work at the ballet school as a drama teacher, and you know, I really got to see underneath the beauty of ballet. You know, the sore feet and the blood and the pain and the broken limbs. But I also got to look inside the souls of a few ballet dancers. And, just say they might live in Georgia. Here's a song called Nina. Now, Nina was a ballet dancer famed throughout the land for classical perfection so divine. God had clearly sculpted her magnificent physique and blessed her with expressions so divine. Her dance interpretations were graceful and unique, and she'd glide across the stage sans gravité. And when she would separate her gentle lips to speak, this is the poetry she'd say. I'm not dancing with that bald cunt. Yes, this was Nina, reactionary ballerina, with a warm and quite compassionate smile, a female Fred Nile, with poisonous quips and a touch of Mel Gibson. Oh, Nina, what an offensive ballerina, a social view could get no meaner than Robert Mugabe. Countenance, just like the Virgin Mary, she crucified her only son, she really was scary. People are quite wrong to say that everything is beautiful at her ballet. Now, Nina's gift of physical expression ensured that she would reach such towering heights. She attracted leading men in startling numbers, but remember, these were men who dressed in tights. One day, while doing Swan Lake with a charming boy called Trent, whose arms were strong but wrists were slightly fey, she felt him lift her lightly as a feather. But this is what the chorus heard her say: "Hope you wash your hands, you dirty fag." Yes, this was Nina, reactionary ballerina. Behind her warm and quite compassionate smile lay a female Fred Nile, with poisonous quips and a touch of Mel Gibson. Oh, Nina, what an offensive ballerina, a charming home in Murrumbina, had never seen a gay. It wasn't that she valued the traditional family unit, but was driven to distraction by the thought of two men doing it. People are quite wrong to say that everything is beautiful at the ballet. Now, artists love to do their bit for charity, and artists often see it as their duty They say that helping out the disadvantaged complements the search for truth and beauty. And so a kind philanthropist asked Nina if she'd dance to raise some money for the refugees. But Nina merely yawned and brushed her tutu and turned to him and said, "Ah, please, I don't want a fucking mosque in my backyard." Yes, this was Nina, reactionary ballerina. She just dismissed all of those causes as trendy, embraced downward envy, and caused such revolt, even shocked and revolt. This was Nina, what an offensive ballerina. She thought ethnicity was cleaner if it was cleansed away. Although she had a countenance just like the Virgin Mary, she'd crucify her only son. She really was quite scary. Let's finish off and simply say, not everything is beautiful at the ballet. Thank you. She's actually a real person. She's still plying her craft. Now, we're going to venture into the world of commerce now, and this song sort of traces a story about how neoliberalism can make the kindest and sweetest and most compassionate person quite revolting once they sell their soul to a corporation. Here is a story of a beautiful signorina who came from the Republic of the Philippines. She wasn't into bling bling, diamonds or chinchilla. She had a Bachelor of Arts degree in English Literature and Beauty Therapy from the American University in Manila. She raised money for the poor all day, evoking sympathy from those who passed away. And when anyone offered a donation, this is what she'd say: "I have a very exciting business opportunity that you might be interested in. Maybe we could meet for coffee sometime." She looked all pure and innocent, but baby, this was the passive-aggressive Filipino Amway lady. The passive-aggressive Filipino Amway lady. The passive-aggressive Filipino Amway lady. We may hate multi-level marketing, but baby, you're gonna love the passive-aggressive Filipino Amway lady. So sorry, would you like to buy some herbal diuretics? So sorry to bother you. Or pamper yourself with artistry cosmetics? No pressure. An air filter for your asthmatic daughter? So sorry to hear your news, I will pray. Or perhaps a purifier for your water. Meet our Amway lady for a cappuccino. She put up brave resistance, but she knows that she can elicit more sympathy than Corazon Aquino. It may appear to be a little shady, but you'll never leave empty-handed from this domineering Amway lady. The passive-aggressive Filipino Amway lady. The passive-aggressive Filipino Amway lady. You always avoided Tupperware, but baby, you'll know so strong with the passive-aggressive Filipino Amway lady. I think maybe she's sounding a little more Mexican. Yeah? Sorry. One Sunday night, while calling her customers at home, she encountered significant difficulty with her mobile phone. She located an appropriate number she entered to promptly direct her to the customer service center. Well, she exercised patience and contrition as she navigated vocal recognition, and her call was finally answered with breathtaking precision. Good afternoon, madam. Welcome to 3 Customer Care. How may I help you on this sunny Melbourne afternoon of 23 degrees? Oh, I am so sorry to call out of traditional business hours, but I must say that I am very vulnerable without suitable telephonic communication. Excuse me, madam, but your victim status has aroused my otherwise repressed masculine desire. She promised to love him until the day he died. The overly articulate call center operator from Mumbai. The overly articulate call center operator from Mumbai. The overly articulate call center operator from Mumbai. May not support outsourcing, but oh my, she outsourced this articulate call center operator from Mumbai. Catholics around the world are filled with mirth, for they know that the passive aggressive shall inherit the earth. Thank you very much. Thank you. She's a real person too. She's talked to my mother for about 10 years, that's true. As I mentioned before, we were both raised with a tremendous sense of entitlement, and that wasn't so good when I was a student and starting out as an actor and working as a waiter. Because like many Australians, I wasn't very good at playing low status. And if you go to, you know, most waiters in cafes and restaurants really don't quite know how to play that low status role, usually because they're the best educated people in the room. So I would like to sing a tribute to those of you and those of us who have worked in hospitality. Oh, I love to wait on tables, and I just adore it when people use a knife and fork just like they use a ballpoint pen as they scavenge from the buffet. Oh, it's such a sight to see the appalling table manners of the petty bourgeoisie. Tenderloin of beef in a rich red wine sauce, potatoes, dauphinoise. Would you like some cracked pepper with that, ma'am? Have you ever seen a gentleman acting all refined, affect superiority when asked to taste the wine? As he raves about the palate with his viticulture talk, you take such delight from showing him the mildew on the cork. Chicken Caesar salad sends croutons. Would you like some cracked pepper with that, sir? Fucking mute. I place a napkin on a lap, and after some repose, see it misused as a handkerchief as someone blows his nose. Then he puts it on the table so that everyone can see the type of snot that gets emitted by the petty bourgeoisie. Third order of Yarra Valley pork belly confit with ocean trout, tarama, salata and sauce bordelaise. Would you like some cracked patty with that, sir? Fuck off. There's a champagne in the tumbler. There's a red wine in the flute. There's a bib tied round the jacket of a polyester suit. There's a hungry overeater who'll be gluten-free tonight. The person on her left just ate the bread roll on his right. Iced Grand Marnier souffle in a chocolate cup with orange confit. Would you like some cracked pepper with that? Fucking cunt. Start a revolution, we will man the guillotine, we'll enforce the rule of etiquette, where etiquette's not be. We'll build a Bastille prison so that everyone can see what should happen if your man and like the petty bourgeoisie. Thank you. We've come to the end of the show, ladies and gentlemen. No, it's too fast, no! I'm sweaty, we've got to finish soon. Stink. You know, we made some nasty songs tonight, and we've laughed at a lot of people and we've ridiculed people, so I think it's appropriate to end with a sentimental song. I hope you don't mind. It's a warm, gentle, sentimental song that I wrote a few years ago. It's a tribute to those things in life that are really important. Members of our family. Don't laugh, it's a warm, gentle sensitive. Every Sunday afternoon, I visit Mum and Dad. I pull up in the driveway of their quaint suburban pad. I can't forget the happy times I've spent from year to year in this funny triple-fronted brick veneer. There's a manicured front garden and a yard that never ends. There's a big garage and tool shed and a bungalow for friends. There's roast lamb in the oven and a nice Shiraz to drink. And as I look around their home, here's what I think. One day this'll all be mine. One day this'll all be mine. One day I'll be an orphan, but that day I'll be fine. 'Cause one day this'll all be mine. 'Cause the humble street I lived in isn't humble anymore. And Lamborghinis park in spots where Falcons did before. And all those funny brick veneers have gone before our eyes, replaced with sandstone monsters twice their size. Now home is where the heart is, that you can't deny. But let's not beat around the bush here, everyone must die. I'm all for family values, and I love this piece of earth, because my valuer just told me what it's worth. Oh, one day this'll all be mine. One day this'll all be mine. There's just one consolation, and that compensation's fine. And one day this'll all be mine. I visited a builder, and he's drawn up all the plans for French provincial units that don't look a thing like France. The block could fit 4 houses, but we gotta build 11, so Mum and Dad can look down on my medium density heaven. One day this'll all be mine. One day this'll all be mine. Subject to council approval, I'm sitting on a platinum mine. And one day this'll all be mine. Everybody, one day this'll all be mine. Louder, one day this'll all be mine. I hope they live till 90, because they've just turned 89. And one day this'll all be mine. One day this'll all be mine. One day this will all be mine. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I just feel so overwhelmed at those moments, really. It reminds me what a beautiful, beautiful privilege it is to sing and to be part of a cabaret festival and to share my gift with you all. Such an honour, and I feel so soft inside. It's been so hard to get to this point, you know. It's like the voice, isn't it? I've got something to say. I've got something to say. That's why I'm doing cabaret. I've got something to say. Catch a falling star. I fell in love when I was a boy. I had never been in love before. Then love went away and broke my heart in two. So I've got something to say. Yeah, I've got something to say. This is all I have to say. The phantom of the opera is there inside my mind. brother was autistic. So I got something to say. Hell yeah, I got something to say. And this is all I have to say. Don't cry for me, Argentina. The truth is, I never left you. All through my wild days, my mad existence, I kept my promise. Don't keep your distance. And that's all I have to say. Go of your dreams. I was a rent boy. I lived on the streets. My father was a junkie and I had HIV. So I've got something to say. Gee whiz, I've got something to say. This is all I have to say. Because jellicles can and jellicles do. Jellicles fucks with jellicle cats. 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 Yes, I've got something to say.